All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for joining. My name is Evan Golden, and I am the product manager for VisualScript. And today we're going to be doing the first of a recurring workshop that's titled Getting Started with VisualScript. And really, the focus of it is we want to help our customers make the most out of their investment right away in the product. Secondly, we want to show how easy it is to create a custom dashboard, basically in day one. And then finally, for those that are looking for the right reporting tool and they just want to learn more about what VisualScript is and what it can do, we wanted to provide a workshop for that as well. Just a little bit of housekeeping. So we are recording. So we'll be sharing the recording link out after the workshop, and you'll be able to share that with your team, rewatch, and if you have any additional questions that bubble up afterwards, you'll have my contact information there and you could reach out to me. Also, we'll be answering questions live. So I'm joined by our VP of Product, Joshua Platt, and he's going to answer any questions that come in live as well. And then with some that spill over to the end, we'll answer them together with the time that we have. So what is VisualScript? It's a reporting solution for the Atlassian Stack. It's available in both Jira and Confluence, and both in server and cloud. And all the reports, they live in Jira dashboard gadgets and Confluence page macros. So we have about 35 different built-in reports that you get on day one, and that list is growing. And they're broken up into two different categories. One is our standard reports, and the other is our solution-based reporting. So for our standard reports, we have two different types. We have a chart style reporting, which would be your pie chart, your bar chart, your stack bar, line area, et cetera. I mean, basically, if you can think of a chart that you need, we either have it or it's something that we're looking into to work on. And then the others are in context report. So what we mean by that is when you launch a pie chart and someone's consuming that, they're basically reporting off of a single field. They're getting the answer to, they're getting a what, essentially, how many, what is this? And it's off of a single field, where even with a stack bar chart, you're getting two fields. The idea with in context is that we're bringing in as many different data points into single reports like a grid, timeline, hierarchy. And this is really what differentiates us from the other reporting tools out there, because we can now answer the why and right within a Jira dashboard. And because we believe that having those metrics in those charts, which is super important, plus that additional context will help you make those well-informed, data-driven decisions around things like process change, investing in new hardware, software, staffing up, training, things like that. Then solution-based reporting, we have it. It's basically first solution is agile, so that includes at scale like SAFe, so program increment boards, different types of roadmaps, dependency reports, burn up, burn down, velocity. We have all that built into the tool, as well as some ITSM type tools like reports like problem timelines and SLA reports and health gauges and time and status flow charts. So we have all of that. Now, so basically that shows how flexible the tool is, but it's also quite powerful in that if you have a custom solution that you need for your users that is not available in the built-ins, you can actually go in the back end and with JavaScript, write your own solution. Our SDKs and Cookbook are available right on our website to help you get started. And basically, I'll show you one of those today, and I'll show you exactly how much context you could bring into an individual report to support multiple teams. So, all right, what are we doing? So right now what you're looking at is the admin side of VisualScript for Jira Cloud. We're gonna start there, and I'm gonna walk through the features that we have in the admin side. And then I'm gonna take you to the user interface in a Jira dashboard. I'm going to show you how the user would work with the tool. And then I'm going to demo a bunch of our standard reporting. And then finally, once again, we're going to answer questions at the end with the time that we have. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm in cloud. And the nice thing about this is that what you're seeing in terms of the UI and what you will see in terms of the reports are available in exactly the same in servers. So it looks exactly the same. The reports are exactly the same, et cetera. So in the admin interface, we're going to start at the top left, and we're going to focus here on first My Reports. So everyone should be able to see this My Reports section here on my screen. And I have 5 folders under there. What My Reports is, it's our custom script library. So this is the library in our instance of reporting that is organized in a way that is useful for our users. So within here, I can create folders, I can organize scripts within folders. As you can see, I can nest folders. And then ultimately what I'm doing, again, is just organizing my scripts. So I'm gonna go back to the root directory and I'm gonna add a new folder. And I'm gonna call this folder demo. So now you'll see I added a folder called demo to my root directory. If I click on demo, it'll show you up here where I'm currently located. So it gives you all that information as well. Now, one of the ways that you can add scripts to your custom script library is by importing. So we have the ability to import and export scripts. The nice thing is on export, it packages the entire script up to include the code, the parameters, and everything into what is called a .vsc file. So that's the extension type. And then when you import it, it's going to give you the exact same script with all the parameter defaults and everything that you had in that other instance. What's nice about that is if you have a dev instance and a production instance and you're doing all your development on dev, once it's all tested out and ready to go, you can bring that script right into production. So I'm going to import a report into my demo folder, and it's going to be called bar chart. So there you go. So I have bar chart. It's a script right in my demo folder now. I can also add a new folder into my demo folder called demo 1. And then if I want to drag bar chart into demo 1, it's just drag and drop. That's how easy it is. So here I am organizing my scripts, and that's how I import a script, and I can organize it in my folder. So the other way you can do it is you can create a new report. Like I told you earlier, you just click create new report and it gives you a text editor. You can start with our SDKs and our cookbook and basically code your way into a really cool solution. And again, I'll show you one of those today. And let me go back here. And the final way you can add scripts into your script library is through using the built-in report templates. So I told you we have about 35 built-in reports. So here's the list right here. And the admin is using these as templates as opposed to running the scripts directly. So I can click on bar chart. This is my built-in bar chart report with all the code. I can edit that as I want to. And then I have the parameters here on the right-hand side. This is what the user interfaces with. So they're going to do data entry in here. And then VisualScript is going to reach into Jira, find the appropriate data based on what's filtered from this output, and then render the diagram into a gadget. Without code, I can edit a few things on these parameters. So you'll see there's multiple types. We have option list, numbers, Boolean, date. But the three things I can edit are the label. Now this is going to be the name of the parameter that my users see. So I'm just going to delete keys. And then description is, I can edit that, and that's going to be at the bottom of my parameter and just give some instructional text or further definition as to what it is. And then finally, I have the ability to create a default value for the script. So I'm going to put a default value for my project key of ITDT. And then I put in a name. So I'm going to put demo bar, and I'm going to go ahead and create it. So now I've created my report. You'll see it's here in my root directory. I want to put it in demo. So I'm going to drag it. And then I go to demo, and now I have demo bar, and I have demo 1 folder with bar chart. Okay. So that's how you can organize them and add scripts, etc. Now, if I want to export, all I do is I could do this at the folder level or at the script level is I highlight it and I right click, and you'll see I have the option to export or delete. So what I want to do is now delete this bar chart script. So I'm going to highlight it, right click, select delete. And then now if I go back into my demo folder, I can delete this folder as well. And now all I have left is my demo bar report. So that's basically the simple functionality you can do on the back end as an admin. Obviously, it gets quite more interesting as you start coding your own reports. But from an admin functionality as a Jira admin, this is how easy it is to organize and add reports. So let's go ahead and get into the dashboard. So I'm in my standard reports Jira dashboard, and it's got a bunch of gadgets in it because I'm going to do a demo of a bunch of our different types of reports. But the user will just basically add a gadget, and VisualScript comes with a gadget called VisualScript. So I'm going to add it, and it's going to look quite familiar from what you saw before in that here's that folder structure. This is what the user sees when they launch a gadget. So it's exactly the same thing as what I organized here. So you'll see I can go into my demo folder, and I have demo bar in there. I basically have all my scripts organized like I do in the back end. And then I have this built-in report section. Oops. sorry, let me go here. Then I have this built-in reports section, and in the user side, the built-in reports are actually reports as opposed to just scripts that we're editing and creating reports off of. So I can click bar chart and it's going to give me the parameters that it calls for with a bar chart. So you see I have these data entry right there. If I go into my demo folder, demo bar is going to give me the parameters with the edits that I made in the backend. So project, project key, and a default value. So that's how simple it is for a user to add a script to a dashboard. So I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to run through just a bunch of our standard reports. So the first ones I'm going to show are some of our chart style reports. Now we have more than I'm showing here today, but basically this is at a high level what we have. So a pie chart, and again, the parameter is the data entry. So you'll see that there are a few parameters in here for the user, but they're super simple. And that one is the project key. So you just enter your project key. The next is your field. So the idea with standard reporting is that you can report off of any project type, any field, any issue type, right? So you'll see fields in here that are for Jira software, and then you'll also see some integration fields like advanced roadmaps team, tempo team. If you don't see your field in here, you would just select custom and type in the custom field name right there. And I'm going to report off of component, and this is a service desk project. So my issue type is going to be incident, and then I have the option for data type. So you'll see I can do issue count, story points, different time estimation as well. So I'm going to do issue count, and then I have the option for unresolved issues only. So I'm going to select true. If I select false, it'll do resolved and unresolved. And lastly, so this is what a user would enter just to be able to, so that they can run that script. But if you're a power user or you're a user that just understands JQL and you want to further filter the data, you can add a JQL statement right in here as well. So I'm going to run my pie chart, and basically with Jira Service Desk, the component field are the systems. So on the right-hand side here, you'll see my legend with a list of all my systems with the color key. And then you'll see the colors represented in the pie chart with their percentages. I can hover over the pie and it'll show me the name of the service or component with the number of incidents and the percentage. And I can also click this expanded view, which we have in VisualScript. And when I click it, it's going to give me a whole new visual. Now, what this is doing is giving me just a grid to list off the name of those components, the number of incidents under issue count with hyperlink. So I can access all those issues by component as well. And then I just click, oops, I just click back to go back to the actual visual. So the next one's our bar chart. And what's nice is that with VisualScript, with the bar chart and the pie chart, is we have the same exact parameter data entry. So we try to keep this as consistent across the standard reports as possible. So I'm using a Jira software project right now, and I'm going to report off of the sprint field, issue type story, and I'm going to do a data point of story points and unresolved issues only. So from there, it's going to create a bar per sprint that have unresolved issues. So you'll see I have my sprints 6 through 12. I have my story point count here, and I can click my expanded view and it'll give me those sprints 6 through 12, story point count with hyperlink. What's nice is how easy it is to modify the report when a question is asked. So you can actually just go in here, you can change this to issue count, change this to resolved and unresolved, and then all of a sudden now you have all the unresolved issues, so it's going to add sprint, or resolved issues, so it's going to add sprints as well. So you see now I have sprints 1 through 12, and it's by issue count as opposed to story points. So there you go. That's our bar chart. Now we get into reporting off of multiple fields. So we have a stacked bar chart and a grouped bar chart. So for the stacked bar chart, we're going to, again, report off 2 fields. I get my project key, and now the only real parameters we're adding is for that second field, right? So the field I'm reporting off of is status, and the second field that I'm grouping with is priority. I'm doing incident issue types. I'm going to report by issue count, unresolved and resolved issues. And now I added a JQL statement in here that I only want to show issues in high, medium, and low priority. So I should get 3 bars here, 1 for high, 1 for medium, and 1 for low. And in those bars, you'll see the colors that are representing statuses. And you'll see the issue counts are stacked on top of each other per priority. So for example, medium priority in closed status is 29 incidents. So, and then I could click the expanded view, and now I get both metrics in the status and the priority, and they intersect with the total number of issues with hyperlink. I could do the same thing with a group bar chart. It's the same exact type of parameters. I'm going to do a Jira software project, and I'm going to report off of the sprint field again. And my grouping field is, I'm using component as a team field to represent my teams. So I'm going to use component here, issue type story, my data type is story points, resolved and unresolved issues. So with this, my grouping is going to be by component. So I should have 3 different groups and different colored bars representing the sprints in each group. So you'll see I have team A here, and I have the different colored bars representing the different sprints with their total story point count up here. And then, with a single column dashboard, this obviously looks a lot more readable without having to zoom in. And then you get the expanded view here as well, and you get the teams, the sprints, and the issue counts with hyperlink. So you get a lot of good information right there. Then the next one is one that we're currently working on. It's not released yet. The idea is that we want to have a bar chart by time period. So basic data entry, again, project key. I have the option for 2 bars. So my left bar is going to be a date field of the created date. My right bar is going to be the resolution date. And my start date that I want to start running this report from is January 1st. Now I have this option with a time scale to do month by days, quarter by months, year by quarters. I'm going to do quarter by months, and I'm going to report off of these issue types. And now this should give me basically like a group bar chart by month of 2 different bars per month. So you'll see on January, February, and March, I have number of tickets created, number of issues resolved, and then my expanded view gives me the months, the created and resolved with the hyperlink and the issue count. Cool. So the next one is our stacked area chart. And with a stacked area chart, what we're doing is we're reporting off of a single field over a period of time. So again, the data entry, it's simple in that project key. My field is going to be status. I have a time period that I can select from here. I'm going to do 2 weeks, incident, resolved and unresolved issues. It's about 5 different data points that need to be entered just to run this, so that you can run this report and get this visual. So then you get your stacked bar chart, so you can see the dates. Again, a single column dashboard would give you just a much larger visual, but zooming in, you'll see the different dates, and you'll see the statuses by color stacked on top of each other. And then I have the expanded view as well here. So I get every day, I get the statuses, I get the number of tickets with hyperlink. That's our stacked bar. So now we get into one of our in-context reports. So this is a bubble timeline. So what I want to look for here is I want to see the number of, I want to see basically the incidents broken down in a timeline by created date. So I have the project key, my date field is created, my issue type is incident. I'm going to report by issue count and unresolved issues only. Now this is going to give me a timeline where every bubble on the timeline is going to represent a created date. And within the bubble, you're going to see a hyperlink number representing the number of incidents created that day. And then I can click this expanded view here, hyperlink and number of issues. And then I also have the opportunity for all my reports to export to SVG, PNG, and JPEG. Okay, so the next one's our gauges. This is another standard report. It's got the same data entry look and feel as a pie chart and bar chart, among others that we have, like donut chart, funnel chart, field hierarchy, all those other things have the same data entry. And basically the project keys, my service desk project, I'm going to report off the status of my incidents that are unresolved statuses. So I should get 3 linear gauges here that will give me the total issue count that are of unresolved issues. So you'll see I get my title here, issue count by status, incident, and it shows me the linear gauge as well as the number of issues right under it. And I get that for all 3 of these statuses. And then I get the expanded view, which gives me, once again, the name of the statuses with the hyperlinked issue count and percentage. Okay. So these two, the next four are actually really interesting examples of in-context reporting. So the first one's our advanced search hierarchy. So I'll show you the query in a second, but I can enter a filter ID or a JQL query, and it's going to create a hierarchy off of that. And the query I ran off of was my software development project. And I wanted to basically say epic name equals epic one or epic link equals epic one. So I'm showing the single epic named epic one, and I'm showing all the stories that are linked to it with the epic one epic link. So you can see I have that epic, I have all of its stories broken out. So that's an example of how you can create more context. And you can customize this to add more data points to these shapes to continue to provide more detail. This one is a really cool one. It's our project aging report. And you'll see all you have to enter are intervals of time in here. And the idea with this is I'm looking for the last updates on my projects. So it's going to show me, it's going to show it to me in a hierarchy. So you'll see I have the past week here. And in the past week, I have a single project that was updated, right? So it's the IT department project. Here's the project lead, the last activity date, as well as the last updated issue. So if you think about this, as I'm going across these projects, I have 5 different data points per project in the single report. I have the name, I have the lead, I have the activity, last activity date, and I have the last issue updated, and I know it was updated in the past week. So that's 5 different data points I get per project, which is really good to look at the activity in your projects when you're considering cleaning up your Jira instance, things of that nature. Next one is our grid. So this one, we use grids for a lot of different things, like program increment boards, dependency reports, velocity, et cetera. But we also use grids in our standard reporting. So you'll see here, you can enter your own horizontal axis field, and I'm going to do a custom field called source, and then my vertical axis field in priority. And you'll see I'm adding these display values as well. So I can add additional field values into my shapes. So I'm going to do urgency and component for incidents, and then I have the option to change my data type. I'm going to do a shape per issue and unresolved issues only. And then finally, I have a JQL statement of my priority equals medium. So if I want to further filter that data, I can do that there. And then this will be a grid. It'll be a single row grid for the medium priority. So you'll see my medium priority. Then within each source, I have the number of incidents with some details. So if I look in here, for my incident, I have the components, I have the urgency, I have the summary and the status. That's 4 data points. Plus I have the source and the priority. So that makes 6 different data points per incident within the same visual. So you can answer a lot of questions with just this single report. And the final one has a lot of data in it. So I will be zooming in, but basically it's our project hierarchy. So as organizations are implementing their requirement structure and they're growing, let's say they're doing SAFe, they have additional linked requirements. This hierarchy gives you the ability to visualize all of that. So I'm going to do project key. My issue types I'm going to use are epics and stories. And this is going to be a hierarchy report for that single project. The second level will be all of the epics. And then you'll see all of the linked stories in there as well. Doesn't normally take this long. I think we have cloud. Yeah, that was a cloud thing. Okay, so we have all of the epics, as you can see. And if I zoom in, I can see all of the linked stories. But check this out. If I have a single column dashboard, and I'm looking at this, and I look at an individual story, I could get the summary 1, assignee 2, issue type 3, status 4, last updated 5, and the issue it's linked, or the epic it's linked to 6. So I'm getting 6 individual data points per story. So that shows you some of the things that we can do that are not necessarily standard charts, but they give you the ability to add so much different context into the single report. Now, I promised you I would show you a custom report that we built. And so I'm going to add a VisualScript gadget. And I'm going to show you a report that we built for a customer we were working with that was looking for a lot of detailed data around their stories. So over a period of time. So you'll see the project key here. We have the start date and the end date. The issue type is story. Do I want to include future sprints within this time frame? True. And then what field am I using for team? I'm using component. So this is going to be using a few different recipes. What's nice about in-context reporting is I can now combine chart style and in-context reporting in my custom scripts as well. So like I created a script here with my team, and basically what we have is a grid, and we have the gauges within the grid. So we're looking at in context along with chart style. And then you have a row per team right there. And then you have the number of issues and story points committed in that time frame, the number and issues and story points delivered, added, dropped, and rolled. So you're getting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 different data points per team, but then you're also getting these, the start and the end date, the project, the issue types. So you're getting a lot of different data that you can consume in this report. What's nice is it doesn't matter how this team is working, right? It doesn't matter if I'm running this report, how I want to organize my team field. I can put a custom field name in there for my team field instead of component. But then we also have the expanded view, which shows it by sprint. So now I'm actually looking at my active and estimated, my active and previous sprints that were completed, as well as my future sprints, which are the dark gray ones. But I'm getting the same exact data entry for my sprints as I did at my team level, but I'm also getting the ability to see if there are any issues in that sprint that are unestimated. So you can see I'm getting now like 12 to 13 different data points per sprint in here as well. So that gives you an example of one of our custom reports that we built for a client. So that is what I had to demo. I want to open it up for questions so that we can maybe show some other things if people have questions around different types of reporting and things like that. So did we have any questions, Joshua?
Yeah, we have a couple on the chat. One of them is it possible to generate reports on issue history?
On issue history?
Yep.
So you mean, yes, I know what you mean. So I'd have to look into, Joshua, do you know the answer to that? Because I think we would have to look into the API calls and what we can do.
I believe you can. It's the API is there to do the work log, so you should be able to do it. It'll depend on what part of the history, like the changes over time, if you have to get into the change log. But yeah, depending on the exact part of the issue history, you should be able to do it.
Yeah. What was the other question?
Can you create calculated, I'm assuming it means calculated field to be shown on the reports? And I think we could probably talk about our upcoming report options feature on that. Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, happy to. So one of the interesting things we're working, so first of all, you can do calculations in the script. And you can also report off of calculated scripted fields like script runner or power scripts. But we are working on a report options where you can actually modify these reports even more. So if I'm looking at a bar chart and I want to see, I want to change the name of this title, I can do that. I could change the name of this field. I can actually change the name of my sprints, and I can combine sprints so that I can maybe consolidate sprints 3, 4, and 5 into what's called iteration 1. So I can do that, and it's going to add the count together that way. I can also do calculations on the metric itself. So maybe I want to double story points. So I could do a calculation on the number of story points, or I could, however I want to do. Maybe I have a budget that's looking at 100,000 and I want to reduce that. So I just divide it, and I could do that for visual as well. So that's some of the report options that we're working on, among others. I should add too that we could sort. So you'll be able to sort bars as well in the order that you want. Is it possible? So I see a question. Were there other questions in the chat, Joshua, before I get to this one?
Nope, that was it in the chat.
Cool. So is it possible to create reports out of data from other plugins like Zephyr for Jira? So I imagine you're talking about the test cases themselves. The test cases in Zephyr, I believe, are issues anyways. So we can report off of that. And we can report off of anything that's available in Zephyr's API, essentially. If we can get to the data, we can do something with it. And same thing with like test management for Jira. And we've worked with a lot of other tools like advanced roadmaps and things of that nature. Did that answer your question? Hopefully. Okay, cool. Anything else?
Different questions I see on chat and QA.
Awesome.
Sorry, I'm wrong. There's 2 more.
Okay.
Is the speedometer dial usable for custom reports?
You mean the gauge?
Yeah, if you're looking at the gauge, the linear gauge, yeah, that's a standalone report. It can be part of something or standalone. You can use multiple in one report as well. If I recall, you had one that had like 40 of those in one report. Is that right?
Yeah. So what's pretty cool is, like, let's say you're implementing enterprise service management with your Jira service desk, and you have 17 different, seven different departments in your organization that are using service desk for customer support. We can actually create gauges, to break down all those SLAs. And we've actually, I think, scaled it to, Joshua, to like 75 that we were able to put that are readable within a single gadget.
Cool. And the last question is data center available? And I'll take that one.
Okay.
Not yet, but we submitted it before, and there were some issues at scale that we were dealing with Atlassian, largely around, when you have thousands and thousands of concurrents requesting the reports. We're a few weeks away from having a solution for that sorted, where we start caching these reports and allowing them to have configurable cache times of, run it every time versus only run it once a day or only run it once an hour. Once we have that in, Atlassian's kind of told us it'll be good to go. So hopefully we'll have that very soon. Atlassian did just overhaul their data center approval process, so I think we'll be one of the guinea pigs for the new process as well. But hopefully we get all that dialed in over the next few weeks, months or so.
Do we have anything else?
I think that was it. Looking across all the channels, I think that's all I see.
Cool. Well, again, thank you so much for joining. You will get a follow-up email just from the webinar itself, and it's going to include my contact information in there. So if you have any questions that bubble up after the webinar, reach out to me at any point in time. We can schedule a call. We can have a conversation around your reporting needs, things of that nature. So thank you so much for joining, and have a great rest of your day.